We only do PCB assembly and box build in the US. And today, with the infrastructure bill in the US, where $390 billion is going into clean energy manufacturing, which President Biden just signed, is to bring manufacturing back to the US. So like PLI schemes, they have a scheme too. The hybrid model, so what you adopted, that's why the clean energy space is exciting for us, is that all the labor intensive and all the engineering work is done in India, but it takes time. And all the automated configuration is done in the US, and the two are married in the US. So we can call it made in the US, assembled in the US. So then the end consumer can get a tax rebate. The $390 billion is all about tax rebates in the US. So some amount of that manufacturing has to be done in the US. So with the combination of India factory and US factory, we are able to do that.
In B2C model. So it does take some time for the customers to get on board, but once they're in for the life of the product. It's maybe 10 to 15 years. Okay.
We have in Bangalore, we have a design center, which has got the largest number of PCB layout designers, 40 odd engineers. And they not only design the PCB, it's not designing the product, the PCB itself, the one we said we won't be doing. But we also cater to what is called the new product introduction. So some of the world leaders, I don't know if I can use the names, but all the larger Fortune 100 companies, most of them use us to make the first 10 or 20 boards, okay, or first 100 boards. Of course, for the trial to make sure the design's working. When it was a chip company, the next generational chip coming 2 years from now, we are able to see and manufacture the first 5, 10 boards to see what the technology. Because technology changes in the packaging of the semiconductors, and we are seeing technology with different people, and we have to adapt to it. We have enough time to cater to that.
Rules that SEBI has laid out, right, in the guidelines. There are different categories, and depending on the rules, it actually comes under whether the retail will have 35% or 10%. This actually falls in the second category.
Can you specify?
Where you see the details around where even Sirma gains our price.
I'm talking of 9 months.
It is still sort of from the growth outlook that you see from a scale standpoint and the order book. Clearly, we are sort of well positioned from Avalon's perspective. I think it's a relatively, from a scale standpoint, clearly the order book is much larger even from the full year financial.
A significant round of roadshows, meetings with institutional investors, right? The current pricing takes in the feedback from those institutional investors, and we're seeing a robust set of institutional investors trying to come in. You will see the names once the anchor round is done and the list is up on Friday, right? So and obviously these investors, of course, take into account the growth prospects of the company, its placement vis-a-vis competitors, and how they see the company's vision panning out and growing. Basis that, the pricing has been arrived at.